Hey everyone! First things first, I'm sorry if you hear the noise in the background. Being that it's summer, it is just disgustingly hot down here in Alabama, so I can't turn off my air conditioning. Also, I've heard replies in other videos that have told me that my voice is too low to understand, so let me know in response to this one if it's better. But on to the point of today's video. With it being Pride Month, I wanted to share with you some really fun experiences I had, or funny. I mean, they were fun, but it was very funny, everything that happened. See, I recently, for the first time ever in my life, went clubbing. I am 26 years old, turning 27 in September, and honestly, before this point in my life, I don't think I've ever even been to an official Pride event. I've been in predominantly LGBT spaces, but I've never gone to something that was dedicated to the month of Pride. This is because I, for the majority of my life and adulthood up until this point, suffered with severe social anxiety, and so I spent most of my time inside trying to avoid social interactions. And the difference this year is that I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but I feel like after getting on proper medication, I've begun to learn more about myself. Like, that the social issues that I was having, they felt like they were me for such a long time that I was just someone who didn't like meeting new people, who wasn't extroverted. And then, with my brain finally clear, I was able to realize who the real me was. And the real me was someone who really wanted to go party with people. And so to properly kind of test out if this was something that I would enjoy, I recently, I got all of my vaccinations, and I had friends that I hadn't seen in over a year due both of them moving away and COVID stuff come down. And with us all vaccinated, we thought this would be the perfect time, the perfect Pride Month, to go to a gay bar or a club. I don't know exactly what the difference is. But, we decided that we were going to go to a drag show at a local gay bar. And it was, honestly, I think it's one of those nights that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. And I'd like to tell you some of the stuff that happened. When I first got there, I was definitely feeling my nerves and feeling that age-old anxiety at being in new situations. It's kind of hard to completely kick a habit. That's the main reason I wanted to come here. I wanted to test my limits and see if this is what I really wanted. And so, the first thing that I really did is that my sister and my friend, Chell, we kind of huddled over at a part of basically a corner of the bar. And my other two friends, who were definitely more outgoing, one of them being the friend that introduced us to the place, he's been here a lot, and he's a very outgoing person. And my other friend, who is actually straight, but a wonderful ally, a great ally, he was also very outgoing, and they both started this really fun back and forth with this bartender. And eventually, after a lot of chatting with those two, he turns to our group. Now, my sister and my friend, they're not talking. Well, my sister is very shy, and my friend is just the kind of person who doesn't talk if she doesn't want to. You know the type. He turns to us and is, asking us questions, trying to get us to loosen up a little bit. It's pretty early in the night, so there's not many people in the club, and we're just kind of floating in space, not knowing what to do, not knowing where to go, too nervous to really join in on pool or anything. So he turns to us and he's trying to get us to relax a little bit. And I start trying my best. When I am nervous like that, I start giggling. I think I've mentioned that before. I have nervous giggles, which I'm sure that a lot of people can relate to. These weren't bad nervous giggles, just I wasn't quite sure. I couldn't keep up that level of banter that the others could so easily, because I'm not used to the situation. So I start to laugh, just laugh and try to be polite, and he starts kind of flirting with me. And I guess this is also a good point as any to tell you that some of the stuff that I'm discussing in this video gets pretty sexually suggestive. I mean, it was a gay nightclub, so anything that you could possibly expect from that kind of environment. But point being, he starts kind of flirting. I giggle, and he, no joke, he says, "I like that noise, do it again." And it's a kind of flirting where it's not uncomfortable because it's clearly just a joke to keep the mood up, and everybody's kind of in on it. So he's doing this outlandish level of flirting, like, "Oh, I like that noise, keep doing it." And again, I'm not used to this kind of back and forth, so I giggle again, and no joke, he starts rubbing his nipples, and it was just the funniest thing. It's hard to express, but that wasn't the end. That was not the end of the adventure with the bartender's nipples, no, because I can't remember what exactly happened, because I was kind of like, I'd say in a state of shock, not bad shock, but again, that's why I came here. I'd never experienced this kind of setting. I've never been openly flirted with, jokingly or not, like that. But at one point, we just keep going back and forth, and then he pulls his shirt down and shows me his nipple. The whole nipple, the whole thing. And he's pretty hairy. I say that because he then says, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'm getting waxed soon." Which I didn't ask, but I appreciated the tidbit of information. It was a pretty good add-on. I hope that goes well for him. Train, go away, please. I'm trying to get this done before I eat dinner. Anyways, I tipped him pretty well. I was the nerd there who got a plain soda with a virgin soda, if you will, because I didn't feel like drinking. When I drink, I'm sleepy. It makes me sleepy, tired, and disoriented. That doesn't sound like party time for me, but I gave him a pretty good tip. How could I not? Like, he gave me so much extra service. It's only natural. But, okay, then after a little bit of time at the bar, we start heading back because it's around time for the drag show to start. And this wasn't super eventful, except that there was kind of an area really close to the stage. It wasn't super crowded here, so I got a front row seat. And the most that happened is that in the time that it took the drag show didn't start until, good God, an hour passed when it was supposed to? I don't know what kind of technical difficulties or if that's usual and I just got the time wrong, but point being, in the meantime, the stage was just completely covered with people that were doing unholy things. And obviously this is par for the course in any kind of club, but I really want to give a shout out to this one girl who, like, she was just, anyone who came on the stage, she was like, "Come here." I mean, she was my dream. Didn't matter gender, didn't matter anything. She was down. And yeah, I mean, just in the middle of the stage, like, this was meant to be a show, and so it was a show. I did see things I'd never seen before in person. But that aside, then, I mean, the drag show, there's not much to comment on there except that it was good. I mean, well, you know, it's one of those shows where there were a bunch of different performers. Some were better than others, but all of it was really, really fun to watch. It was fun to watch someone in the zone, and obviously a lot of tips, pulled out a lot of tips, and by pulled out a lot of tips, I meant I kept reaching over and, like, swatting at my friend who had all the cash and taking tips from him. But hey, it all comes from our group. That it all counts, alright? Details do not matter. But the next really funny thing that happened, interesting thing that happened, wasn't until there was a good break in the show. There were a few that came out, danced, and then there was just kind of a little bit of a lull for a bit. And this is coming on, I think, around 1 a.m. And so everyone's kind of taking a break, just sitting around. People are going to refresh their drinks before it starts back up. And this guy, I had seen him before because in another corner of the stage, when everything was kind of slowed down, he had been up there dancing with another man very provocatively. Got it. But he was up there dancing pretty provocatively, so I recognized him. Also, it didn't hurt that they were both of these men were wearing straw hats, and that stuck out to me so much. They both just had straw hats on, and we're having a good time together, and I think that's great. But he comes over, and he throws his arm around me, and I realized that night that I like physical contact. I've always been a physical person, and it made me realize that, it actually, in this kind of situation, I didn't mind the whole body-to-body thing, and this might be like, oh, that's nothing special, but again, I was someone with some pretty bad social anxiety. This was all news to me, but that's not the point. The point is, he leans onto me, and then, I'm looking at him like, hey, what's up? Because it seemed like he seeked me out. And he kind of leans in a bit, which my only issue is, and I'm vaccinated, and I'm wearing a mask even though I'm fully vaccinated. I didn't really appreciate someone getting up on me, but at the same time, it was already happening. I was avoiding people physically for that point only, but it was already happening. I was already here. Like, I was gonna hear out what he had to say. But he leans in and he says, are we gonna have some babies? And if this isn't, like, I guess the most embarrassing part is that it was so loud in there, I made him repeat that line about 5 times. I was gonna hear it. I just heard babies. And so I'm like, are we what? Like, what? And then finally I hear it. Are we gonna have some babies? And I'm like, no, we're not. And he says, even for money? And I kind of pause at that point, not because I was actually considering it, but it was a lot to take in at once. So I pause, and then I say no. And he's like, even for a lot of money? I don't know what kind of money we were talking. Maybe actual numbers would have made me think differently, but I was just like, I'm good. I take care of myself. Thank you, though. And I remember because there was this line beside me of people that I didn't know, and most of them were female presenting, designated female at birth people, and he turns and starts asking them, and then he goes, I need a uterus. And everyone goes around saying, no, I already have kids, yada yada. No, I'm not down. And then I think he might have been legitimately looking for a surrogate, but that's the weirdest way I could have been asked. Are we gonna have some babies? I don't think so. I'm pretty down to never have babies. I would like to adopt, if nothing else. Thank you. Pregnancy, I keep sniffing, I'm sorry. Pregnancy is not something I'm looking to experience at any point in my life. But yeah, so he leans on me for a long time. The highest body temperature also, he was very warm. And then before he leaves, he says, thank you. And I just like that. I like that he was thanking me for my time. He was thanking me for indulging the baby talk. It just the very polite thank you, and kind of have a good night, and then he's gone. I thought that was something special, and definitely a first for me. Not something I'm gonna forget. Besides that, the main thing that happened is that the one of the drag queens got all up in my lap, extremely in my lap, and she was not only tall, but she was in these stiletto boots, so she was towering, and she was just bouncing up and down, which was another first and interesting experience for me. I think overall that's most of what I the more interesting things that happened, going from someone who has never even how do I say it? I'm not experienced in any of these areas, mostly due to my mental health, but it was a very unforgettable night. Oh, I got to talk to one girl. It was kind of my goal. There was this one girl who was dressed amazing, crystal earrings, a Ouija board themed skirt, and a really fancy jacket. And so we wind up at the bar next to each other after the show, and I'm just I finally take the chance. I'm you look really cool. Because that was one of my goals for the night, to test myself and talk to a girl. And then I find out she's in partial Violet Evergarden cosplay. And then we start talking anime as best we can with how loud it is, and she's telling me all these anime she likes, and it's like really, really sad, artistic stuff like A Silent Voice, Violet Evergarden, Your Lie in April, and she asked me, and I've watched so much anime in my life, but she asked me that, and my brain goes blank. And all I can think to say is, well, recently I started Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh my god. Oh my god. Her face, I could, like, see it. Like, not that she was impolite or anything, but... Yu-Gi-Oh? I have, by the way. It's not the original. I started, I believe it's the second series. I'm gonna get to the original eventually. It's not important here, but just letting you know, I'm gonna be watching every single Yu-Gi-Oh! Very slowly. But that's not the point. I mean, obviously nothing went on from there besides us bonding over Hunter x Hunter, but that was my goal for the night. Talk to a girl. And I did. And you can hear my cat in the background messing with stuff. I apologize for that. But yeah, goal achieved. I didn't have to go anywhere. I mean, it's my first time ever going out, but talking to a girl, that is such a feat for me. I'm one step closer to eventual girlfriend. I will accomplish this goal eventually. Thank you for listening to my tale. After that, we went to a really cool 24-hour place, and I got a I can't speak. It's been so long. I got a veggie burger and fries that were awesome. Something interesting about that. Down here in Alabama, no one believes in the virus, and almost no businesses enforce masks. Like, even at the club, they had signs saying to wear a mask, but people get so rowdy and violent sometimes about masks that I just think a lot of people just don't care anymore, and that's sad. I've always tried to wear a mask. Even now that I'm fully vaccinated, I wear my mask everywhere, but people don't take it seriously and get angry at being questioned. All of that is to say, we were sitting on an outside area at the place where we got food, and at the door there was a guard with a gun, and I just think that said a lot. Like, the one place I've seen fully enforce mask and only let in certain numbers of people at a time, and there's an armed guard because they're not fucking around, my dudes. But yeah, it was a great night, and I know this is a sudden video, yada yada, I want to make more videos, etc. But I wanted to get something out. I wanted to stop thinking about it and just make a video. So this is it. This is my little thought, lots of talking, come back to YouTube, one of many. Alright, oh my god, I really can't speak. Alright, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you're all doing really well. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and as always, I will see you on YouTube.